Did you listen to Tyler the Creator's album?
I did a couple times actually, and I enjoyed it. I can't really. I haven't absorbed it so well. I've probably only listened to it a couple of times, but I really enjoyed it. I
Did you
like
listen to
how
like some
he had some more classic sounds of his. You know what I mean? In
like
terms of like, because his last album I believe was a lot more out of his box. Like he was just kind of experimenting and getting
yeah.
more creative. Whereas like this time it was like somebody who listened to Tyler the Creator long ago can be like, oh, you know what I mean? Like when somebody brings up a style and they're like, I don't know, it's like a little bit of nostalgia for Tyler the Creator tucked into that album.
Well,
Even
it's
though
like
there
the
was some songs where it was a little bit more still like playful and experimental, but there was a
yeah.
lot of like, not necessarily experimental, but like his newer sound with some of his old sound mixed in.
Well, it was like the developed version of his album Wolf that came out in 2013. Because when you look at Tyler the Creator's discography, like Bastard was his first project. There was a lot of heartfelt stuff that he communicated on that project as like an 18-year-old. The bars and the production wasn't nearly close to the standard of what he's been producing over the last 5 years, but it was there and it was authentic. And then Goblin was like his breakout, where he got a big fan base. And then I feel like this is like I don't know if you listened to his album Wolf that came out in 2013, but I feel like this is like the modern version of that. But I just feel like Tyler, I love the fact that he decided to go, because it seemed like he was drifting further and further from
Where
his
he
appeal
was?
that made people like him so much when he first came out, that this album was like a return back to his roots. And when I say his roots, I don't necessarily mean him being, offensive and derogatory in his lyrics to troll people, which was what really got him a lot of attention from the general audience
Saying fucked
back
up
in,
stuff.
yeah, like in 2010, when he wasn't even allowed to go perform in like New Zealand or some shit like that. It's like he did a complete 180 of an artist, because the type of people that hated him in 2012 became fans of him in 2017, because is he gay, is he whatever, and it's just like, but his music inevitably, regardless of his personal whatever, became a lot better. And he was nominated for a Grammy for Flower Boy. He won the Grammy for Best Hip Hop Album with Igor, which wasn't even necessarily a hip hop album. When he did his speech after winning the Grammy, he basically said, like, it's unfortunate that I have to be categorized in the urban category just
Yeah.
because I'm a black artist that's making music that doesn't necessarily become not making music that's easy for people who define what category it fits into. Um, they just say, "Oh, it's hip hop," but that was not a hip hop album. Igor was critically his most successful album. Like the Needle Drop, Anthony Fantano gave it like a 9,
Well,
and like all
he
this
got
stuff, and it's an
really,
amazing album.
yeah.
But that wasn't the Tyler the Creator that I became a fan of. Is it great music? Yes, but I love the type of music he's making on the Call Me If You Get Lost project, because he is just one. I love how, like, a lot of rappers, obviously they'll flex and they'll brag about how much money they have, what car they're driving, what girls they're with. Tyler will brag about those things to a degree, but it's definitely well earned, because he has proven himself and shown his growth over the last decade. But he also brags about how many different hats he wears as a creative, which I can respect. He writes his songs, he raps, he does the genre blending music. He produces, he directs his videos. He has a clothing line. He has one of the most. There's a skit called Bless, and he just talks about, like, oh, at this music festival, one of the best music festivals. The clothing line's doing well. My fragrance is doing well. I'm directing commercials. I'm working on scripts for a movie. Music. It's just like, I love that he is just so. He doesn't he references in his songs, like, I don't get anxiety. I just fucking make my shit. And I love him talking shit about. I like when someone talks and brags about their product that they made, not the byproduct from the product. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, look at my chain that I got from my hit song. He's like, no, look at this
Look at what I
song I
did.
produced. And that's what I really like. I feel like Tyler, as he evolves, he just has found a better way. And I think Anthony Fantano said this in his review of the song, is like, or the album. Over the years, he's become less concerned with the outside opinion of him, so he doesn't address that in his songs. He just has become more focused on becoming better
Growth.
as a
Yeah.
musician. So, and for me, as far as any album that's came out in 2021, that's my favorite one because it's like the generation that we really started listening a little bit closer to hip hop. He was someone who
He
was the
key
face of
there,
that,
yeah.
like the Mac Miller, Kendrick, Ab-Soul, Frank Ocean, fucking Childish Gambino, Danny Brown, Action Bronson, like people like that. That's the era. Joey Badass. Like when we were started making music and you're doing the covers, and we're doing our thing, like what and the traditional playlist that we would have at the time, these people would be in there, and it's hard to come across that same feeling now with new music, that we got then because Mac Miller's dead, Kendrick doesn't drop, Ab-Soul doesn't drop, Childish Gambino doesn't rap. You can listen to Action Bronson for a couple days and it's just like, all right, it's Action Bronson.
Yeah.
You know, I just doesn't hit like that. But that Tyler the Creator album, I swear I listened for like a week. So
yeah, it was very different. I didn't listen to it that much because I don't know what I like got on a kick of listening to it for a few days. I don't know what changed that, but cause typically I will listen to something a lot. But know what else? I was actually thinking about that album earlier, and then I realized I was like, I don't know what song I was listening to at work, but I was like, oh yeah, J. Cole dropped an album this year. That was like good.
It's really good.
But I remembered a song, Costa Rica.
I got the Dream Costa Rica.
And I was like, that album, like nothing really like that album. Kind of that feeling that you just explained, like that. Even though it wasn't like a typical sound that I had listened to like years ago, it gave me that same excitement. Like that project has so much like energy, and I think it's because there's all these like up and coming people, and you can almost relate to that mind state, I guess, that they're in, where they're like they just feel like they're like, you know what I mean, ascending, and there's just like there's not like peak energy, but like there's just bubbling up on that project that I listened to the whole thing earlier, and I was like, fuck, like it gave me that project. That gave me that energy that you were just talking about. I was listening to it earlier.
J. Cole's always,
and his album was sick, but it was like compared to this thing, like I can remember every song off this that project.
Well,
like,
actually, you should go listen to the song. I just love songs that kind of test the waters more than others. There's a song on Tyler's new album called Wilshire, and it's 8 minutes long, and he takes you into this very strange situation where he's like basically talking about he meets this girl and they hang out all night, and then she drops the bomb on him at the end of the night that she has a boyfriend, and her boyfriend is a friend of his, but he just feels a connection with her so much that he's like trying to justify continuing to talk to this girl and like hanging out with her while he's like third wheeling with her and her boyfriend, and then they go out and smoke a joint at the movies, and he's like, now he's like, oh, this guy never answers me, and blah blah blah. And then I actually saw some kind of conspiracy theory on Twitter that like the guy, and it basically the whole, it's an 8 minute song, and he talks about how she spends a week with him, and he's just like, it's really cool. It's just crazy to listen to, but and I feel like Tyler always kind of has these songs about like very taboo topics that are like kind of uncomfortable, like you just certain things that he's just like. And I feel like he might be like the type of guy that just like loves, like he just has proven to himself time after time that he's just so good at shit that he's just like, oh, if I like this girl or dude, he's just gonna be like, I don't care if my friend dates them. It's me. And
he probably just pulled through anyway. I mean, he's Bill Cosby.
Oh, no, that's what I was thinking. Maybe Tyler the Creator, Bill Cosby. We'll clip this and make it the title. But yeah, but it's interesting because it's a really good song. But then I saw a clip where and there's a line in that song. He was like, it's like him talking to the girl, and he's like, well, he never even hits me back when I hit him up anyway, like talking about her boyfriend. And there was he did like these small cap shows in New York and stuff over the last week where he performs a new album. He actually just put a video of one of the shows on his YouTube channel. It's like 50 minutes long. And I think it's during that one he like says like, oh, he's playing one of the new songs, and there's like a gap, there's no verse on, and he's like, Rocky was supposed to be on this, but that guy didn't talk to me for like 6 months. So I was like, I wonder if Tyler the Creator was out here fucking ASAP Rocky's girl, and he was not a fan of that. And like, I don't know, I thought of that.
It's Tyler the Creator. fucking Rihanna?
Maybe, bro.
Whoa.
But then I saw this picture on Twitter. Someone like there was like a big tweet, and people were like, "Oh, that's the girl he's talking about." People were like, "How do you know?"
Somebody else?
Yeah, it was just some random black chick. But then people were like, "Oh, that girl was dating the guy who Tyler made the Igor album about." Like, 'cause that Igor album he put out was like a whole breakup album, but it seems like it's about a dude, and then it's like the dude made be with
I
a
feel like people
girl,
are trying
and
to
he's
tie
trying
things together.
probably, but
That sounds a little
some wild
because
there's
he
some
would
wild
that'd be
shit.
like fucking like years of like preemptive like you know what I mean, like strategy of like I'm gonna write about
Yeah.
I'm gonna get hyper focused on these couple of people.
Yeah, and I think that he reached out to DJ Drama to get on this. Like, he had this project stashed, but there's crazy 42 Doug's on it, NBA YoungBoy, Lil Uzi Vert, Pharrell. But this to get DJ Drama just yelling across the whole thing is as like it's like an album. Like, DJ Drama's known for doing the mixtapes, the remixes, hosting them Gangsta Grills, but he's all over like this very decent, like well thought out project. It's not that
Oh,
conceptual.
that I
but
feel like that probably is
it's
also
just cool.
brings you back.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
mixtape
exactly.
days.
But it's just interesting to see that collab. But we're actually 2 hours in here, but